The front end is where you can tell that this Q3 is brand new. They've really got that baby Q8 vibe bang on. Look, you guys already know what car this is, you know how long the wait for it has been, and you also know how important it is as the most probable entry point into that Char Bangadi family. So, let's get on with it. Outside of the front fascia though, it is still very obviously a Q3. The same classy and compact design that's notably sharper now but still plenty familiar. This new pulse orange shade, it just looks and tastes amazing, but what's with these wheels? 18-inch alloys instead of the 19-inch wheels that you get overseas, which is fine, fair enough, it makes sense. But this is what is advertised on Audi's main model page, and instead you get these plain looking ones. I mean, come on Audi, this is your young people's car, people who experiment with banh mi, sushis and macaroons, and even if they go to a Mughlai restaurant, they're not just gonna order the dal khichdi, give them something exciting. And while you're on the subject, why no dynamic turn indicators?
Nitpicking, yes, but doing really cool stuff with lights is kind of Audi's thing, no? Anyway, pop open the powered tailgate and you're greeted by a very practical boot. Big suitcases are easy work. The rear seats slide ahead if you want to liberate more room, and dropping the back seat makes storage go from generous to generous Pro Max. Not the biggest talking point though, because
This is the place where you see the real big difference. Towards the end of its life, the old Q3's cabin started to feel like a richer, much nicer, and more premiumly reimagined version of what you got in a Volkswagen Polo. But now, this easily looks like the most modern interior in its entire segment. We've got a long-term Audi e-tron, and I've also driven the Audi Q8 quite recently, and they've managed to sort of bring in the essence of both those SUVs with the kind of sharp contours and edges you've got all over this dashboard and basically throughout the cabin. In fact, just look at the design of the door handle. It's like a gun. Audi's also come around to playing a lot more with ambient lighting. And aside from what you'd see in the traditional spots, like the doors around the cup holders, the Quattro logo on the dashboard itself is also part of the ambient lighting setup.
features. Well, there's a frameless IRVM, 2 zones of climate control, powered front seats, a wireless phone charger, and the 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system that looks cool but is also super straightforward to use, and a panoramic sunroof. There's a digital cluster too, which includes a navigation display, but this could have been more interactive, say with playful animations corresponding to the drive modes. There are also no memory settings for the seats, nor is there seat ventilation, no surround view camera, which kinda stings at this price, and the rear camera resolution is so-so too. I also wish this had a more unique key.
So it's a luxury car, but a compact one at that. So no big car space opulence as such, but that isn't to say that this isn't an extremely roomy family car. So as you can see, Arun, who is 5'11", seated behind his own driving position, has a generous amount of footroom, good knee room, and surprisingly good headroom. So Arun, can you now do the automotive journalist Macarena?
You also get these storage pockets on either side of the rear seat. Thoughtful. But while there are rear AC vents and an armrest with cup holders, not a single charging port in sight at the back. Not so thoughtful.
So as you'd imagine, when you're paying big money for big badge value, there are little trade-offs. But those are trade-offs you're consciously making because Audi. But while that badge itself has a lot of weight to it, unlike 7-seaters that you can buy for the same kind of money, the Q3 is light, it's agile, it's compact. And when you combine it with this 2-liter turbo-petrol engine and this insanely smooth and quick automatic transmission, you get an SUV that's more or less got hot hatch-like qualities because it just feels so agile and easy to maneuver in just about any given condition. Let me tell you a story, right? We had to pick up this car from Audi's workshop in Thane, and the location of that workshop is extremely obscure. I'm talking Super narrow lanes, barely wider than the rickshaw, crowded, peak hour traffic, and that's what we had to drive this through. The car we had for company was Arun's Volkswagen Polo, a compact hatchback, and he was leading me on through those lanes, and it was just so easy to keep up with him, dodging through traffic, filtering, driving through peak hour traffic of Thane and Kalwa, which gets pretty hectic. It can make Mad Max look like a dream. But the Q3 just felt so easy going through all of it, and if you decide to get the Q3 as your first luxury car, you can be confident in knowing that it's not going to be a daunting task to drive this in even the most challenging urban conditions. And while the SUV itself is quick and eager to both get up to and past 100 kilometers an hour, the steering is still more or less typical Audi fare, which means you could definitely want for something that's more communicative. But for 90% of the people buying something like this, it's going to be entertaining enough. But it does make me wonder, what is an Audi RS Q3 going to feel like? Some food for thought. But now let's just tone things down for a second, right? Go from dynamic into comfort mode. There we go. And let's talk about something that's probably going to be more relevant for most of you buying a car like this, and that is the ride comfort and noise insulation. Now, full disclosure, I have driven the Audi A4 petrol, and compared to that, this does feel a little bit noisy, especially when you get up to higher revs. It gets a little bit crackly in comparison. But standalone, if you have the AC running at even 1 or 2 on the blower speed, little music playing, the insulation is fantastic. You're kept completely aloof from the outside noise and chaos, and it does feel like a very peaceful experience inside. But what stands out even more so than that is the ride comfort of the Q3. Like again, we've seen with modern day Audis, they get their ride game specifically for India bang on. So even over the worst of road conditions, it just feels so comfortable, pliant, and while you don't get to say this for a lot of European SUVs, the Q3 doesn't feel delicate when the going gets rough, uneven, or even unpredictable. And this bad road comfort, it's not just a question of dealing with broken patches when you're driving at low speeds. Even at high speeds, when you come across those weirdly made highway expansion joints, those weird dips, even at 80, 100, 120 kilometers an hour, it feels completely planted and predictable. So it's not a car that's just Autobahn ready that you expect a German SUV to be, but it's also expressway ready. So then the big question, is it worth it? And I have to thank our subscriber/supporter Amit for really making me think about this, right? Now, logically speaking, you can get a lot more car for the same money, and a lot of the premium that you're paying here is for the badge value. Plain and simple. In fact, most if not all of the qualities of the Q3 you could just as easily get in a Volkswagen Tiguan. So if you are gravitating towards this SUV, know that emotions have taken control. But if your emotions do drive you to this, you can be confident in knowing that you've got a car that is fun, modern, comfortable, and hauntingly easy to drive that will make you feel special every time you hit the road.